We are going to be chatting about finding purpose through getting loved up. And yes, my company is Get Loved Up, and that's love yourself, love others, love the world, in that order. It's no wonder a lot of people feel out of purpose or like they lost their purpose through the pandemic because we didn't know what was happening. We were uncertain. A lot of us felt like a lot of us lost our jobs, lost family members. So everything was all over the place. So it's normal that people felt like they lost their center. And so I'm going to take you through a journey of finding your purpose to getting loved up. And I'm going to do that through one of my favorite systems that I studied during my yoga teacher training and that I teach in my yoga teacher training school, which is through the chakras. And the chakras are just natural wheels of energy in our body. I also call them spiritual energy centers, and you feel them even if you haven't heard of them before. It's that lump in your throat when you want to say something, but you don't know what to say. It's that queasy feeling you feel in your stomach when you're a little bit uncomfortable. I'm going to really break down. It's really your body speaking to you and how we can start to listen to our body. And as we listen to our body, it can make sure we stay in alignment with our purpose. Because I firmly believe you don't have to find your purpose. I firmly believe your purpose is within you. So sometimes it can be a sort of finding because you kind of move all the weeds around it so that you can align with it. So as a spiritual teacher, as I was going through, the uncertainty and, mask on, mask off, all these things, it was my daily meditation, daily prayer, daily yoga practice, and daily rituals that helped me feel safe because I didn't know what was going on outside. And I didn't know, sometimes we couldn't even go outside. I was wondering if things were happening in the air. So my spiritual connection and connecting with God helps me feel safe. So once you've written it down, go ahead and share it in the chat. What makes you feel safe? Another thing that makes me feel safe is friends and family. So having someone that I can lean on and someone that I can call and maybe we can both feel scared together. So my friends and my family help me feel safe. And the last thing that helps me feel safe is my community, being able to get online and talk to my community and Get Loved Up community, my GrowthDay community. Like community helps me feel safe. So I see some of y'all checking in community, your family, your friends, checking in with your truth. Yes. Beautiful. This is really important, especially when it comes to purpose, because if we get thrown off by a job loss or death in the family or anything like that, in order to come back to your purpose and living in your purpose, you have to reattach to your sense of safety. But if you're like, oh my goodness, this is happening, now I have to move, or, oh my goodness, I don't even have toilet paper, whatever you're thinking, it can throw you off and you're just thinking like, I need to feel safe. Oh my goodness, I don't know what to do. You forget to live in alignment with your purpose. You might get angry, you might get upset. All those are natural emotions letting you know that you're not okay because you don't feel safe, right? So really grounding on remembering what makes you feel safe. So if you ever feel out of alignment, how do you get loved up? You go back to your root. And that's our first chakra is your root chakra. And that's your sense of safety. And how the chakras work is actually build upon each other. We start with the root and then we'll go to the sacral. And if you've coached with me before, I talk about the chakras a lot and we go all the way up to the crown. And again, these are natural. Every single person has these energy centers in your body, and we can all use them so that we can know when we need support, when we need to get loved up a little bit more, when we need to pour into ourselves. Someone said they feel safe inside a hot yoga studio. Yes, that really does feel safe to me too. All right, so now we're going to go to the second chakra, which is your sacral chakra. And that's your sense of expression. So we're feeling safe. And the next thing is feeling like you can express yourself, right? Because I truly believe in the world, if you look at nature, if you look at people, we're all meant to express ourselves fully in whatever. Some of us sing, some of us dance, some of us teach for a living, so whatever it is you do. But I find purpose through expression, right? How many of you find purpose through expression, or expressing makes you feel like your life has a purpose? Yeah, I see some hands. So think about expression right now. What is your favorite way to express? A lot of times when you feel like, oh, I don't feel on purpose, once you ground down in your safety, if you start singing, dancing, wearing colors, painting, writing, you'll start to get loved up, right? By doing what you like to do, by expressing, and then it'll start to become clear what is rising to the top. Because I'm a multi-passionate person, as you almost know, and a lot of things make me excited. I love to express through writing. I love to express through speaking. I love to express through dancing. And at different times in my life, different ways of expression bring me joy, right? And so when I start doing a little bit of each of them, the one I like the most will take precedent. And the more that I do it, the better that I feel, the more in alignment that I feel. And if you think about it, when you start to express yourself, you're releasing tension, you're releasing anger, you're releasing all of these emotions that don't serve your highest and greatest good. And you feel more aligned with who you truly are and your purpose, again, that is always within you, right? So the next time you're feeling like, oh, I'm so down, I'm having a dark day, I don't feel great, look at your list today. And this is a list that we create today, you all. I want you to come back to this list every single time you're not feeling okay. And remember what makes you feel safe and secure. What makes you feel fully expressed, or what are your favorite ways to express? Beautiful. Mentoring others, creating new content, journaling. I love it. Okay, someone said coffee. I love it. I love it. I don't know about that one, but fair. Awesome. Okay, so let's keep going to the third chakra. And the third chakra is your solar plexus, or your center, right? A lot of times when we don't feel safe or we feel challenged, we start to get this gut feeling like something is not okay, right? And that's our gut, that's our solar plexus telling us we don't feel in control, we don't feel in our power, and it's giving us an alert, right? So right now, I want you to think about what makes you feel powerful. So I know for me, when I think about what makes me feel powerful, sometimes, like I said, thinking about what makes me feel unpowerful, it makes me feel powerful when I feel heard, right? A lot of times when I was younger, I felt very unheard. And so when someone acknowledges what I say, I feel powerful, I feel seen. And when I think about when I don't feel as powerful as when I'm speaking and I still don't feel like I'm heard or understood, what makes you feel powerful? Also, when I feel confident, I feel powerful. When I show up and I know what I'm talking about, I know what I'm teaching. I've done my homework, so to speak. I feel in my power. I feel powerful. Awesome. Feeling satisfied, overcoming yourself, breaking through, clarity, intentionality, confidence, beautiful. Action makes you feel powerful, beautiful. So these are all great things. And as we go through, no right or wrong answers. It's all about you writing it down and creating a list you can come back to when you're not feeling powerful. Taking action also makes me feel powerful, especially with what's going on in the Ukraine, for instance, and you feel helpless and you feel like, oh, I feel powerless. I feel like there's nothing that I can do that's going to change. But then the way you can get in your power is looking at this list. Well, you get clarity, you do your homework and find out, well, what can I do to make a difference? And then once you start doing those things, you automatically feel what? You feel powerful, you feel on purpose, you feel aligned. Right? So it's all about asking yourself, how do I feel powerful? And then drawing that back. Okay, I feel powerful when I take action, whatever it is, whether it be towards a goal or towards just helping someone down the street. I felt good when I just made a donation. Then I felt even better when I shared it with my community. I felt even better when I wrote a newsletter. And the more I took action, the better I felt. And then I also felt heard because I was sharing my perspective and sharing my thoughts and ideas with others. So whatever makes you feel powerful is going to align you with your purpose, right? You're going to feel fully expressed, you feel safe, and you feel like even though you might not do what someone else is doing, or you might not be able to be there and help physically, you still feel empowered because you're doing something that's on your list of what it means to be powerful. And that aligns you with your purpose. Hey, GrowthDay community, how are you? It is so great. Like every single time I come on for GrowthDay coaching, it just lights my entire morning. So I hope you feel the same. I hope you're ready to dive deep. I hope you're ready to really get into, let me be honest with myself. Let me be honest with myself about how I'm feeling right now, because we're gonna get in there today. So if you're ready to get in there, go ahead and get your paper, get you a pen. You will be taking some notes, because we're really gonna deep dive and set you up for a great Q4, for a great rest of your year. And first, we're gonna start off. Those of you who know me know I like to start off with spirit. So we're gonna start off with the breath. So I want you to take a moment and just close your eyes, or gaze softly at the floor. Place your right hand over your heart and your left hand over your right. Take a deep inhale into your heart space. And exhale, sigh it out. Deep inhale through your nose. And exhale, sigh it out through your mouth. This time, inhale and hold the breath. And sigh it out as slowly as you can. So grateful for this opportunity to come together, to grow together, to thrive together. We ask that our thoughts be guided, our words be guided, and our actions be guided. May they be in alignment with love consciousness. And so it is. Ashe. All right. So that's how I like to start all my meetings. And actually with my GrowthDay coaches, I never started it like that. I was like, but why not? And I think because it's a different community, but I feel like I always want to be consistent and acknowledging spirit and getting us all on this vibration of presence, right? So thank you all who joined me for that breath and just centering. I want you to write down right now how you feel. This question is in my phone every single day at noon. It's 2 questions. The first one is, how do you feel? How do you feel right now? Do you feel excited? Do you feel sad? Do you feel tired? Do you feel drained? Do you feel anxious? I want you to write down, if you had one word to describe how you feel, what would it be? And don't take too long. Don't overthink it. I see some proud. I see some sad. Go ahead and share. I see excited, ready, tired, excitement and joy. So you see already, one thing that was put on my heart to share this morning was the reality of duality. Duality, the light and darkness in life, the fact that we're going through so much chaos in the world, but also we have an opportunity to realize, like one of my mentors says, we are the solution. Sadhguru, I just went through his inner engineering program, and I loved his concept of, what if no matter what we're going through, we realize that I, you, every single person, we are the solution. And if you approach life, the pandemic, what's going on in your family, in your relationship, being the solution, you might approach it differently. Because a lot of times we feel like we're the problem. I do too much of this. I do too much of this. I'm not doing enough of this, right? So we are the solution. And so with that, the second question that I have in my phone every day at noon, first one is, how do you feel? And the second one is, what do you need? I'm telling you, I have so many people that do this practice now, because if you're ambitious, which I know most of you are, you're ambitious, you're excited. You're like, I want to live life to the fullest. You know, we're all about Brendan's live, love, matter, right? So what do you need? Because we all need to be supported in a different way at a different time. I see guidance. I see closeness, friends. I want you to notice where you're at and what you need, so that you can take these keys and apply them specifically and uniquely to your life and your lifestyle. Some people need energy. Some people need consistency. I love that. And so now that you're writing down, you're doing this self-reflection, so you can take then the tips and say, okay, I'm going to use that in this way. Okay. So the number one thing, highly suggest, if you don't have a spiritual practice right now, highly suggest it. That can be meditation, it could be yoga, it could be reading a scripture or a book every morning for 10 minutes, whatever it is for you. It has nothing to do with religion. It has everything to do with calming down, going within, taking the breath like we did at the beginning of this session, and devoting some time for just silence, or maybe taking some time to consume something that you find inspirational. And the key part of inspirational is in spirit. It puts you in spirit, in alignment with something that's connecting us all, connecting nature, connecting us as humans, right? So if you don't have a practice right now, and it could just be 10 minutes a day, how many people can just commit 10 minutes a day to silence or your spiritual practice of choice? So it's not just on the weekends. It's not just on Sunday, because look, I'm a Southern Baptist girl. I grew up in the South. And on Sundays, we would get down, screaming and shouting and having fun. I'm feeling in the spirit. I'm motivated for the week. Let me tell you, by the time Friday get there, I'm just like, oh, I can't wait till Sunday, right? And so I've learned through my yoga practice is that I can align with spirit every single day. And I realized the power of that. Before I even start my day, I sit up in my bed and I breathe and connect, and I practice gratitude. So your spiritual practice could be just gratitude every morning. I'm going to write down 10 things that I'm grateful for. But I want you to commit right now, and I want you to write down what will be your daily spiritual practice. Or you could say, if you don't like the word spirit, you could say daily gratitude practice. Like, words are just what connects us, but doesn't define us. Only you can define, right? And so again, in the theme of duality, we all have different ways that we're going to show up in our practice. But I guarantee you, if you make at least 10 minutes, and yours could be 30 minutes or an hour, you are going to rock Q4, because you're starting in alignment with your purpose, with your truth. You're starting from a centered place versus waking up and you're on your cell phone, waking up and you're on the news. How many people cut on the news first thing in the morning? I don't even have a TV. I have a fireplace and a painting, right? So, I don't even have a choice. I could get it on my phone though. But waking up to connect and to breathe and to center is so important. So important. We are going to talk about how it really takes self-reflection to build healthy leadership. So improve leadership through self-reflection. I'm going to take you through something today that some of you all may have heard of before, and some of you haven't heard of before, and it's called our energy centers. Some call them spiritual energy centers. Some call them chakras or chakras. However you pronounce it, however you want to think about it, it's there. Right? We have this gut feeling in our stomach when something isn't right. We get that lump in our throat when we want to say something, but we just can't say it. So through my studies, I've come to understand that it's our body speaking to us. And not only have I learned how to listen to this beautiful way our body communicates with us at all times, I've been able to teach others how to tap in and really self-reflect on what the body is telling us at all times, and how to take that through to improve yourself, of course, so you can be a better leader. So with that, I'm going to go ahead and dive in and get started with what are these spiritual energy centers, or what are these energy centers all about? And I'm going to start from the bottom up. So the first energy center is the root chakra. And so the root is located at the end of your spine, and the color that's associated is red. So in my book, I talk about the chakras. You have a little chart. I have it where you can actually see the different parts and the colors. And with each one, you're going to find that there's different ways that you can improve each area. So your root is all about safety and security. Right? So the reason this is the root is because if you don't feel safe and secure, let's say if you don't have a home to go to, if you don't have the finances you need, if you don't feel safe and secure, it's going to affect every other thing in your life. And your root is all about safe and security. Your sacral is about expression. Your solar plexus is about standing in your power. Your heart is about giving and receiving love. Your throat is about speaking your truth. Your third eye or center of your forehead is about intuition. And your crown is about divine alignment. So it goes all the way up. And so I'm going to speak in detail about this, each one. I want you to take notes, but also in my book, you can actually take the quiz and see if you're overproductive in that chakra, if you're underproductive, or if you're balanced, right? And again, this is no judgment. This is a no judgment zone. It's just seeing where you are. And then I also give tips, and I'll give you some today, on what you can do to improve each area if you're not feeling like you're balanced in each area. So I'm really excited. This is like the most requested thing that I've done out of my book, and people love getting to know themselves and their body in a new way. And I think we should teach this in grade school to our children to really get to know their body. But you're learning it today, so I'm excited. So let's go back to the root. So the root, your sense of safety and security. And so I'm just going to give you a little bit from the book. When you take the quiz, some of the questions are, do I exercise regularly? Is my diet healthy and balanced most of the time? So while I'm going through this, you could just check on your page, yes or no. Do I take time to be in nature on a regular basis? Do I feel good about my body? Because sometimes that negative self-talk, that's your safety and security. Am I well organized? Sometimes we got all these ideas going, but our house is a wreck. Why is it that all of a sudden, when we organize our house, we think better, we think clear? That all has to do with your root chakra, your safety, your security. Am I focused on what I need to do? So sometimes our brain could be so scattered, we have no focus. That is in alignment with the root chakra. I'm comfortable with my level of prosperity and abundance. So no matter how much you make, some people can make millions and some can make a couple thousand and be happy. It really is not about how much, it's if you're comfortable with where you are. Do you feel secure with amount of money that you're making? Do you usually trust your instincts? Do you usually trust yourself? Or are you always asking, what do you think? What do you think? Are you always looking outside of yourself for the answer? Or do you trust your intuition? Are you good at taking care of details? A lot of times when we don't feel secure, we don't feel comfortable taking care of details because we don't feel safe. Do you regularly declutter? I mean, if you're like me, look, I throw things all over my house, but eventually I clean it up, right? So it's not about like not ever being messy, but do you understand the balance of having a clean and sacred home and how that helps your productivity and at the end, your leadership? So all of these have to do with root chakra. So look down. How many times did you say yes? How many times did you say no? If it was no, if you got a lot of no's, that could mean that your root is underproductive, and that a couple of these tips, which I'm going to share with you, can help get your root more productive. Now, if you had a lot of yeses, that's good. That could be in your balance, and that's why there's no judgments, that's just seeing where you are. If you're always exercising, super organized, eating so healthy that, you can't ever have a French fry. I mean, and I'm not promoting French fries here, but you know what I'm saying? Sometimes we can get so strict, and that could be fear too. You could be so afraid, if I don't do things perfectly, then everything is going to go to crud. And we all know that that's not true. It takes a healthy balance. So even if you had all yeses, then you want to look and make sure that you're not overproductive, and it's not to a point where it's making you uncomfortable or giving you a high level of anxiety or making your friends or family very uncomfortable. And if it is, again, no judgment, but just say like, okay, how can I allow myself a little more flexibility? So again, overproductive, underproductive, or balance. So kind of see where you are there. And now some tips to balance your root chakra. Create a clean and organized home environment. Now I'm going to tell y'all, this part of my house is clean. This part of my house is kind of messy, right? And I show people mostly this part. Again, it's all about balance. It's not about perfection. It's about progress. Where can you declutter? I have a desk in my home and I'm like, I am going to spend this month decluttering this desk a little bit at a time, right? So I'm not trying to do it all in one day. And if you need help, you need to get someone to help you, you can always do that. Number two, a tip could be spend time in a healthy environment. So whether that's going outside, whether that's maybe taking a short trip or a staycation, even a little house swap. That's a tip that got really popular within my community during the quarantine. You're in the house all the time. So within pods, they would house swap. So just going to someone else's house that maybe lives down the street, or maybe it's a house of someone in another state, or maybe even in another country, depending on what you're able to do. But can you change your environment, or can you get outside in nature? But those things really help your root, because it really challenges you. Do you feel safe in other environments that are not your own? And then movement. Exercise. We all know when we move our body, we get our heart rate up, we're going to be healthier. So do you have a regular movement practice that you like? I love yoga. I love running. You might like mountain climbing. You might like swimming or biking. So it's not a one way fits all. It's whatever way that you're going to do. People ask me, what's the best way, Koya? I say the best way is the way that you do, And I know Brendan says that all the time. Like, the best is the one that you actually do. So find out, even if it's just 5 to 10 minutes a day, find out what form of movement. It could be Pilates, it could be yoga, it could be basketball, it could be whatever you want it to be, but something that will get your heart rate up and help the blood flow, because that helps with purification, it helps with healing, and it helps you feel strong and safe in your body. We're going to go over lifestyle design today. So if you don't have your pen and your paper or your phone with your notes, grab it. You're going to take a lot of notes. We're going to design your lifestyle. Like Brendan is redesigning his. I just redesigned mine. And it's something that I'm actually incorporating into my company once a month, because a lot of times we get down, we get sad, we get depressed, because we realize the world is changing and we got to change with it. We got to check in. So I'm going to take you through the lifestyle design process so that you can enjoy the beauty of growth and evolution as we grow and evolve in the world. I am so excited. But before we just talk about what are your goals, what do you really want, the first part of wellness is cleansing and detoxing. And I do this daily, I do this monthly. So first we're going to talk about, the first part of lifestyle design, which is checking in. So I want you to share with me in the chat and on your paper, on a scale of 1 to 10, how do you feel? How are you? I saw someone shared in the chat, Rachel, my heart goes out to you and what you're experiencing right now. It will get better starting today. It will get better. You will feel better. You're already in the right place by being on this call. Every single person that's on this call, you are a part of the positivity that's happening in the world. You are part of the growth that's happening in the world. You are part of the healing. You are a blessing to the planet, because you came in today to work with the community, to work on yourself. And I love and appreciate you for that. So know that you are in the right place. You're in a high vibration. We are high vibrational people. So thank you. On a scale of 1 to 10, I see 10, I see 6, I see 8, I see 9, I see 7. And know that it doesn't matter where you are right now, because when you get off the call, if you're not at a 10, you're going to be closer to it, right? So it's about acknowledging where you are right now. I'm at about an 8 right now. I live a healthy lifestyle. I'm happy, but there's some places which I'm going to share with you as we go through this process that I feel like I want to make some shifts and changes. And if we're all honest with ourselves, we're all going through a constant checking in and evolution. And if you're able to be honest about, I'm grateful for my life, but here are some things I want to change so that I can experience more abundance in different areas. All right. So we're going to go over that. So the first thing is just checking in on a scale. Always check in midweek. Ask yourself, where am I at? How am I feeling? Y'all, if you've coached with me before, I do a check-in in my phone every day that says, how are you? I just ask myself, how are you feeling and what do you need? How are you feeling? I say this daily in the middle of the day. If you don't get it daily, weekly, how do you feel? What do you need? Sometimes it's a glass of water. Sometimes it's food. Sometimes it's a hug. Sometimes it's getting out in nature. But I always ask myself, Because that way you don't get to the end of the day and feel totally drained. Oh, I forgot to eat a meal. I forgot to drink water today. I forgot to breathe. Just stop and take a breath. So always check in with yourself. But right now, we're going to check in with your entire life. And that's the first part of lifestyle design. What do you need to let go of? What do you need to let go of that's not serving you? What do you need? And it's good to do this on the new moon and the full moon. But if you haven't done this, what do you need to let go of? Because you don't want to just start. You've all heard about the jar of rocks. And if you just fill it all up with sands and pebbles, you don't have room for everything you want to do. But if you clean out all the sands and pebbles and focus on the big things you want to do, you'll get more that you really wanted to do accomplish. But if you have 1,000 things in your jar and you're like, and I want this, and I want that, and I want that, it's no room for it. There's no room for it, right? So let's start with cleaning out. What are you cleaning out of your life? It could be negative self-talk. Let's go emotional first. We know Miss USA committed suicide recently, and people are committing suicide every single day. Mental health illnesses are at an all-time high. People are not okay. Some days I'm not okay. And I have to sit down, go through all my wellness practices, and love myself up until I get there. It's okay if you're on this call and you're not okay. That's what we're building. So what do you need to let go of? Emotionally, negative self-talk. Emotionally, being angry about something that's outside of your control. It might be physically, I need to let go of this toxic relationship that I know is not serving me. It might be, I need to let go of this job that's stressing me out and not paying me what I need. What are you letting go of that's not serving you? What are you letting go of that's at a lower vibration in your life? Right? The more you let go of those lower vibrational things, the more you'll feel better, the more you'll have energy, the more you will have a higher vibration. If you're around people 24/7 with a low vibration, you can't function at a high vibration because you're giving them all of that energy. Not saying you can't hear people's problems and hang around low vibrational people sometimes, but you have to balance out how much you're doing that. And you have to have other friends, family members that are higher vibration, or a community that you're tapping into that are a higher vibration to balance you out. Life is not about perfection. It's about harmony. You know, how can you live in harmony with what's going on in the world? There's going to be darkness. There's going to be light. So as we do your lifestyle design, you're basically becoming a scientist, right? And a detector detecting, okay, what's low vibration? What's high vibration? How am I going to move this? You're playing Tetris with your life right now. And that's how you're going to design a life that really starts serving you versus taking away from who you really are. You're going to design a life that allows you to shine fully. Okay, the second question is, what are you keeping? What are you keeping? What is working in your life? What are you grateful for? You want to write that down right now. But because before you start putting things in, you want to think about, man, I'm grateful I have my family. I'm grateful I have my health. I'm grateful I have my house, my car. What are those things that you're like, perfect, I love this. I'm grateful for this. This is already going to raise your vibration from clearing out the clutter. And if you're still writing things you're letting go of, that's fine. Keep writing, right? You want to get it all out. And then see if you can match that list with things that you're grateful for. I'm grateful for GrowthDay. I'm grateful for this GrowthDay community. I'm grateful that I'm still alive because I've had dark thoughts, right? I'm grateful I said yes to life, right? So write down the things that you're grateful for. We want to really acknowledge those things that are working in our life before we get to adding anything else. Our topic is how to let your fears make you fierce when it comes to fulfillment. Fulfillment is holistic. Again, fulfillment is holistic because you might make a lot of money, but you're not happy at home. You might be happy at home, but you can't make ends meet. You might be traveling the world, but still feel discontent. So we're really going to dive into different areas of life and really dive into some of your fears and some of those places where you might not feel fulfilled right now, but we'll talk about how you can get to that next level. So right now in your journal, in your phone, or in your GrowthDay app, I want you to make 3 sections. One section for self, one section for others, and one section for the world, right? Because to me, fulfillment, it covers all 3 essences. You want self-fulfillment, right? You want fulfillment when it comes to others. And if you're a part of this community, I know you want fulfillment when it comes to humanity and the world, and how the world is doing matters to you. So we're going to go over all 3 of those areas. But as you know, if you've coached with me before, everything starts with self. Holistic health starts with self. So we're going to dive into self-fulfillment at your root. And in yoga, in holistic health and wellness, our root is basically our center for safety and security. So what I want you to ask yourself right now when it comes to yourself is, do you feel safe? Do you feel safe? Do you have negative self-talk? Are you tearing yourself apart? Are you just judging yourself daily? Are you comparing yourself to others? I know we've been through all these things before, but I want you to honestly ask yourself, are you safe for yourself? Or are you your own worst critic? Do you constantly compare yourself, judge yourself? And hey, it's okay if you do, because I do too sometimes. Sometimes I wake up and like, dang girl, you're looking old today, slept on some makeup. And it's like, wait a minute. I look good. I have to go give myself a high five. Y'all all know Mel Robbins. Give myself some positive self-talk and reel it back. But this is a time again to be honest. So just be honest with yourself. Have you been comparing, down on yourself, negative self-talk? Just write that down right now. And just really take a moment to think about, what are some of those things that you're saying or you're doing that is not healthy for yourself? Because if you don't have that safety, if you feel like you're living in a place that isn't safe, that's really important. So how are you taking care of yourself? Okay, that's number 1. Now let's go to the next session when it comes to others. How are you connecting with people around you? Are you in an environment where you feel judged, where you feel less than, where you feel unsafe, right? This can be at home. Maybe there's a lot of yelling. Maybe there's abuse. Maybe there's things going on that you're like, this is toxic. So just take a moment right now and just write that down. Are you in a toxic relationship with others? And this could be your personal relationship. This could be work relationships. This can be community events where you go and maybe you are shaking, or you feel like, oh, I don't feel safe here. I don't feel like I belong here. So really be honest about your sense of safety when it comes to others. And then the third one is, do you feel safe in the world? And I have a story with this one. And this is honest. When I go home to Tennessee, this is crazy, but I do not feel safe as I do when I'm in California. Y'all, and this is a hard thing for me to admit, because I'm looking for a house in Tennessee and I want to live there and I want to be closer to my family. But I'm going to show you while we're doing these exercises, and you can break down, like, well, some of you are like, oh yeah, I feel safe. But once you reach one, like me, you're like, ooh, I don't feel safe, or I had a feeling of unsafely. That's where I want you to deep dive. Why don't I feel safe? Why don't I feel as safe in Tennessee as I do in California? Right? I've experienced a lot of trauma in Tennessee. The system, the policing system, which, police brutality is a big trigger for me. I don't feel safe on the streets, right? So I know that is where I lack a sense of safety. So I can speak to that. And tell myself, I am safe, all is well, right? If you don't feel safe personally, if you feel like, man, I've been giving myself a lot of negative self-talk, then you want to look in the mirror and say, you know what? I love myself as I am. I am whole and complete. If you don't feel safe with others, then you need to decide, what do you need to communicate? Do you need to get out of those relationships? So ask yourself, when it comes to safety in those different areas, where do you need to make shifts? Is it you need more positive self-talk for yourself? You need to give yourself some positive affirmations. It could be, you know what? At the end of the year, I'm going to treat myself to therapy this year. I'm going to give myself a therapy session because I've been doing the affirmations, I've been doing the positive self-talk, and guess what? I'm still beating myself up. And again, I don't mean just occasionally saying something, but you know what it is when it's on a regular basis and you wake up and you go to bed feeling unfulfilled or not happy. When it comes to others, and I also have a story with this one. I was in a situation, a toxic relationship, a toxic work relationship where I felt like, hey, I keep saying this thing over and over. I don't feel like I'm being heard. I communicated, and even when I communicated, there was just a lack of connection, understanding, and that relationship had to transition. So this is not this person rubbed me the wrong way. This is not ghosting. This is not judgment. This is you feel a certain way. You communicated how you feel, and there's still discord, or there's still a separation. There's still a misalignment. So where in your life is there misalignment? And if you feel like this might be misalignment, but I need to communicate, then that's your next step. Your next step is communication. If you feel like there's a misalignment, I've communicated and I'm just not aligned with this person, but I'm still in the situation, then you have to ask yourself, do you want to take that energy into 2022? We are going to start this session with some calm, right? Because that is the title. So how I like to start my business meetings or any meeting that I have online is with a little bit of breath work. So I'm going to ask you all to join me. I want you to place your right hand over your heart. Now, if you're driving, just do the breath. You don't have to do any movements, but if you can, place your right hand over your heart, your left hand over your right, and gently close your eyes or gaze softly at the ground. I want you to take a deep inhale through your nose and exhale, sigh it out through your mouth. Another deep inhale through your nose and exhale, sigh it out. Last time, inhale through the nose and hold the breath. And exhale, sigh it out as slowly as you can. Slowly relax your hands down and blink your eyes open. So did you feel what that did to your body? The power of our breath has the ability to bring calm at any time. So I highly suggest, especially we're all running from one Zoom to the next, or now some of us are traveling, when you start your meetings or family conversations, just with breath work or even holding someone's hand and gazing in their eyes, this brings a sense of calm and centeredness and connection to whatever it is you're doing. So I love starting like that. Sometimes Brenda gets me so amped up, or I'm so excited that I forget. And I was like, oh, wait, let me go back to the breath, because the breath will center you in your purpose. The breath will center you in divine alignment, which is what I talk about a lot, is really divinely aligning in each moment. And one thing that can bring you there, even when you're super excited or super frustrated, is the breath. So there's power in the breath to bring that calm. And that's kind of my first direction I wanted to go. When I was preparing for this class, I was thinking about, okay, calm, striving, and productivity. And that calm piece, especially when you're a highly productive, ambitious, on-the-go person, sometimes we miss that calm piece unless we're specifically doing yoga. But I highly suggest that you bring it in to everything you do. Before you get started, you just find the breath, close your eyes. And just those 3 breaths is enough to bring yourself back into that place of calmness, back into that place of divine alignment. All right, so with that, let's start talking about, in that divine alignment, let's start talking about purpose, right? Because we're going to be productivity. It all comes from the product of centering in your purpose. So when we talk about centering with the purpose, you want to make sure that everything you do, even if it could get off track sometime, is purpose driven. And so I want you to write down right now, what is your purpose? It doesn't matter what you're doing. If you feel like, Koya, I don't have a purpose, I'm not on purpose, you can go ahead and share that in the chat. But if not, I want you to write down, what is your purpose for today? What is your purpose? Are you clear what your purpose for today is? So you want to write that down. And y'all, I do this every single day. Every single day. This helps me align. So writing down what your purpose is. And I want you all to share it in the chat. Now that you've written it down, go ahead and share it. Because when we all collectively know our purpose and we know each other's purpose, we're able to align. So my purpose for today is energy. Like, I'm bringing energy in everything that I do today. All of the meetings that I have today, everything I'm doing, I'm bringing energy. Sometimes my purpose is to bring calm, bring awareness, bring groundedness. Sometimes my purpose is to educate. So that's my second, energy and educate. You can have more than one, but I usually start with that higher, like, what is it that I want to bring? How is it that I want to feel today? My purpose each day is to leave those I come in contact with better than I found them. I love that purpose. So go ahead and share your purpose. Find my unique tone. Beautiful. So I love it when you all are sharing live. When you're sharing live, not only am I seeing it, but you're inspiring other people that are looking in the chat. Now, with that purpose, I want you to think about what will be the impact of you living that purpose, regardless if you're tired, if you get frustrated, if something happens, what will be the impact of you living out your purpose? Encouragement, consistency. And I want you to write down, what will be the impact? Right? If I bring energy to everything that I do today, I'm going to inspire those who are tired. I'm going to inspire those who are going through grief. I'm going to inspire those. So that one purpose for today is going to help everything I do. So what will your purpose, how will that impact people around you? How will that impact the world? And the reason we're starting here, the reason I always start with purpose and spirituality, because I truly believe when you start with purpose and spirituality, that's your calm, right? That's your calm. And when someone hits your car, which my neighbor hit my car and he won't pay for it, so I'm not happy about that. But because my purpose is energy, we're just going to get it done, send it to the insurance, take the necessary steps because I'm rooted in purpose. I'm not going to let that incident take away from my divine alignment and my energy that I'm bringing, because I know that's impacting others and that's impacting the world. Does that make sense? So think about your purpose every single day. Wake up, write about it, talk about it, tell people about it. My purpose today, right? Because you never know who you're going to inspire. All right. And now let's talk about thriving, right? Thriving, not just striving, but thriving. Because when I think of striving, it's like I'm working hard, right? And everybody here, I know you're in this community, you're in GrowthDay community, you focused on growth, you are striving, right? But how do we thrive? How do we thrive? And one thing that I also do every single day is I make 5 steps. 5 steps that's going to help me thrive any given day. So what are those steps? So I want you to take a moment right now, and I want you to write down what you need to do this week to carry out your purpose, to carry out the purpose. 5 steps that you're going to do this week to carry out your purpose. So take some time. Your steps might be, I'm going to make sure that I am well. And y'all know that's my second pillar. When you're eating plant-based, when you're taking your vitamins and supplements that you need, when you're getting adequate sleep, you can thrive. Not only strive, you're going to do that. You're focused on growth, you're going to do that. But how do you thrive? It starts with being well. So what are the things that you're going to do? And y'all share these in the chat. I'm going to be reading off some of these things in the chat. What are you going to do this week to make sure you are thriving? And take your time to really write it down. Your purpose can be similar to your intention. That's a good question. So you can set an intention And you can call it intention or purpose. It doesn't matter what you call it, whether you call it intention, purpose, your focus. Those all can be interchangeable, and they can all be different, right? So I do a lot of coaching where I'll say, okay, my focus is this, my intention is this, and my purpose is this, right? Or you could say, oh, this is my purpose for the day. It's very interchangeable. So if you're a very organized and very detailed oriented person, you like using a lot of words, you might want to break it down to 3 things. Or you want to say, oh, I'm just setting my intention, and this is my intention this is my intention all day, right? Being purposeful with my nighttime routine. I'm going to read out some of these really good ones. Being present, connected to those I love, to serve in my best efforts. Great job. So keep sharing. What are you going to do in the next week to make sure that you are on purpose? And what's so beautiful is that we have a full moon. Full moon is in Pisces. I don't know how many of you follow the moon cycles, but our ancestors followed the moon cycles, right? And we know when the days are shorter and it's cold, we want to stay inside. Our energy is lower. And we know in the summer, when we have more sun, the days are longer, we have more energy. So we know that we are affected by nature. I'm telling you, when I started following the moon cycles, my life got more energy, even more energy. So now that the moon is full and the full moon is in Pisces, it's a harvest moon. So now with all these growth day sessions you've taken, it's time to harvest. In order to harvest, you have to start thriving and not just going along, ticking off the boxes, but seeing, okay, what am I doing that's working? Being purposeful with my morning routine. I love these. Keep sharing. Reorganizing my food pantry, really smart, getting adequate sleep, intentionally moving every day. Good. So the more that you list, the more you're getting clear, and the more you're clear, the more you can thrive. Not only just going through the day, but starting to thrive by writing these things down, getting clear on what you need to do. I'm honored to talk to you today about friendships. And today we're talking about how to establish a holistic relationship. Because a relationship, even though we have business relationship, then we have family relationship, then we have friend relationships, I do personally think establishing a holistic relationship is going to help you have a long-term healthy friendship where both people feel supported. And so the first pillar, and this is following our Get Loved Up pillars of spirituality, well-being, and entrepreneurship. So the first pillar in establishing a holistic relationship is spirituality. We all come from different cultures and backgrounds. And if you're like me, I have friends from all over the world. I don't just stick to like one specific group. I have friends in different parts of the country, different parts of the world, different nationalities, different cultures. So what do they believe in? Do they have a specific religion or spiritual practice? Or, how do they connect in that way? And I know Brendan's community and my community, we're very spiritual based communities. And so do you know the culture of how this person connects? And the reason that this is important, because sometimes we can say things and we can do things and not knowing that it's hurtful to another one based on their beliefs. So having compassion, and if you want to establish trust, just knowing what a person believes in can help you have some compassion around things that are said, especially with so many things going on around in the world. It's really important. People are breaking up and canceling people so fast, it makes your head spin, and even online. And the truth is, we just don't know what other people's preferences are. We just don't know how people were raised or how they grew up. And so if you really want to establish friendship, you have to ask questions. So what do they believe in, right? And you never know when they're like, I don't know what I believe in. Can you support me? Can you help me? And you might have been helping them with business, or you might think they have it all together, but really inside they're seeking a deeper spiritual connection. So I think that is just such a profound place to start, because I truly believe we're spiritual beings having a human experience, and we can do all kinds of things with our life. But at the end of the day, that spiritual connection will solidify a friendship, I feel, for life. So really finding out what is their spiritual affinity, what is their religion, what do they believe in, if anything, and being able to have that conversation, I think, is the grounds for a really strong friendship. And number two is, how is their wellness? A lot of times when we're hurting, like you might see someone grab their stomach every now and then, or every now and then grab their heart, or they might be complaining like, oh, I'm just having headaches, right? And you notice that they've been having migraines regularly. So noticing the signs when your friend is not okay, and they might say, oh, no, it's fine. I just need to drink some water, or it's fine. But I was just talking to my new friend, Marie Forleo, who I've been to B school and we're working with a lot. And she shared on the Get Loved Up podcast how, it was her friend that asked her, because she kept holding her stomach, and it was her friend that kept asking her, are you okay? And then finally recommending that she go to the doctor, that she found out a health condition that she had, and how it was so integral for her to go and get checked up at that time. So you never know, if you see a friend that is hurting, headaches, clutching their stomach, clutching their heart, encourage them to go see a healthcare professional, especially at this time, because with all of the stress going on at this world, there are a lot of, like, it's not just a regular diseases people are running into right now. A lot of things are happening because of stress. And this is called unexplained illnesses. Like, the doctors don't even have names of it, but different types of stress. You all know I love the book, The Body Keeps Score. So if you haven't read that, I highly suggest reading it. But that stress can trigger things in your kidneys, things in your lungs, all over the body, depending on what. It could be family stress, it could be work stress, it could be financial stress. But stress and anxiety and mental health illnesses are at an all-time high right now. So if you find a friend or a loved one is constantly dehydrated, constantly irritated, constantly even angry, like, all of these are valid signs that they are not well. So please, please, please don't overlook it, and suggest they go see a healthcare professional, or even a therapist. And I know that can get kind of touchy. So definitely test the waters. And I think one of the questions that I like to ask before I suggest anything is, how can I support you best right now? This is the best question to ask when someone's been through trauma, when something's happened in their life. How can I best support you right now? Because you might think, oh, they want to do this, they want to do that. But just asking, how can I best support you? Because they might say, I just need some space right now. And you're coming over with movies and television, and it might cause just more of a headache, or just not feeling like they can have some time to themselves. And then if you find that, hey, they've been having this time to themselves for a whole week and a half, and you go check on them and their house is in array and they're not doing okay, that's when you want to, recommend that they see someone, or just be there for them in person. And I feel like when you ask, how can I support you? Either they're going to say they need you to be with them, or they need some space. And know that, either one of those things can change at any time. Nothing is absolute, especially when it comes to wellness, because if someone especially is experiencing mental health crisis because of the stress of the last year, or stress of transition, then their emotions can go all over the place. And as a highly sensitive intuitive, HSI, I know about your emotions. 1 minute you're at a 10, the next minute you're at a 2, and then you're back up to a 10 again. So I can definitely relate to having a breadth of emotion. And someone said, just stress. Yes, that is exactly what I say sometimes. When deeper things are happening, I'm like, oh, I'm just stressed, or I'm just a little frustrated. But then I talk to my therapist and they're like, okay, tell me about this thing. And they start digging. And next thing you know, yes, it was more than just stress. I feel unseen. I feel unheard. I feel like, like Jamie was saying, like, maybe I don't feel seen, and I'm trying so hard. I was in a relationship and the person made me feel like this big. And now I'm afraid of another relationship. So sometimes we don't know. If you're not a professional therapist, you don't know. As a friend, you don't know. And also for yourself, you don't know. So I think it's really important to ask for help and to allow help, especially at this time, especially if you feel like you're fine. everyone, I recommend, at this time, everyone have a therapist or a counselor or a holistic health practitioner that you're talking to on a regular basis, because as a country, we've been through trauma. Hello, everyone. I love to start off all my sessions with grounding, because grounding in the breath, it grounds us not only individually, but also collectively. And that's how we'll start our oneness in this session. So if you will join with me, place your right hand over your heart and your left hand over your right. Take a deep inhale through your nose and exhale, sigh it out through your mouth. Inhale and hold the breath. And I want you to think of one word that embodies how you feel today. One word that embodies how you feel. And exhale, sigh it out. And the reason this isn't so important, and you can use that in the beginning of your meetings, whenever things are getting heated, just that inhale and exhale to bring yourself back to center, back to your purpose, back to your core, it can be that easy. I talk a lot about our nervous system, how we have the parasympathetic nervous system to calm us down and the sympathetic to rev us up. And so when you do that mindful breath, it triggers your parasympathetic so you can rest and digest. So no, it doesn't matter if you had an argument before or you were as excited before, maybe just excited about your next place in life, but it brings you back so you can align with your purpose, so you can align with what you're really here to do. Because it's important to ask ourselves how we're feeling at every part of the day. I have this practice that I use, and I want to share with you what I ask myself every day at noon. And I have it in my phone, it's on alert. I ask myself 2 questions every single day at noon. And those questions are, how do you feel and what do you need? Again, how do you feel and what do you need? Because if you are anything like me and you're empathetic, you love helping people, you love giving, a lot of times you can get overwhelmed or you can overextend yourself, and you're done through half of your day. You didn't eat, you didn't drink, and you're just going on fumes. But if you have this alert in your phone that asks yourself, how do I feel and what did it? So some days it might be, how do I feel? I'm hungry, I need to eat. How do I feel? I'm frustrated, I need to take a break. How do I feel? So I want you all to think about that right now. And what you told me, how you feel, what do you need? Especially if you felt these different things, what do you need to shift that energy back to love? And I'll tell you my concept on love and fear right now as we kind of dive into oneness, because when it comes to oneness, and that's connection with others, it starts with a connection to yourself. And I know you've heard it from every coach because it's the most important connection to yourself, and asking yourself how you feel. Because if you don't feel okay, then it's going to be hard for you to pour into someone else from a healthy place or to help someone else without being exhausted. So it starts with you saying, okay, how do I feel? And then answering, what do I need? Okay. And now once you focus on yourself and you have your needs met, you are fed, you are well, you are clear on your purpose, then and only then can you pour into others. So we have this mantra in my community, in my Get Loved Up community, and it's called love yourself, love others, and love the world, in that order. A lot of times we try to do great work in the world, and that's amazing, and we try to serve, but we haven't taken care of our basic needs. So we get drained, exhausted, and then eventually resentful, right? And so if we focus on pouring into ourselves first and most, and I love this quote from Lisa Nichols, fill your cup so you can give from the overflow. Allow others to sip from your saucer. And so when you focus on filling your cup with, mentally, spiritually, physically, with all these affirmations that we've gotten from all the different coaches, when you fill your cup with giving yourself enough self-care time, when you fill your cup with exercising and moving as much as you need, then you're giving from an abundant place. It's from an abundant place, not from a space of scarcity. So I invite you, when it comes to oneness, to ask yourself first, are you taking care of yourself? And then when it comes to others, it's really about acknowledging. And that's something that hopefully everyone learned in the last year. We don't all think alike. We don't all move alike. We all are uniquely different. So being able to acknowledge someone else's experience, even if it's different from ours, is the key to oneness. And I want you to write that down. Acknowledging someone's experience, even if it's different than ours, is the key to oneness. Because we're not like, and honestly, if we were all like, it wouldn't even be fun. Our differences are what make us unique. Our differences are what makes the world beautiful. So the more that we really acknowledge someone's experience and then ask yourself, well, is that something that I can learn from? Is that something that I want to incorporate into my life? Or is it something that's not in alignment with me right now? Because sometimes things don't align at the moment, but then a year later, you're like, no, you know what? Jenna told me that like a month ago, and I actually get it now, right? How many times have we said that? How many times have we went somewhere and it didn't align with us at the moment, but then after a couple months or a couple weeks, you're like, you know what? That totally makes sense now. And so when we acknowledge, we're just taking in information without trying to own it. We don't have to say it's ours. We don't have to say that's who we are, but we just receiving this information.
This can be your day for personal growth. This can be that day you committed to and you remember and you go, that was the day I got myself a community. I got better coaches. I committed to making my life the absolute best that I could. This is that day. Make today your growth day. Click the button on this page and sign up right now.